I am a Wall Street investment banking executive in a board meeting making a pitch to my team. Okay guys, so I had a conversation yesterday with this new character, a Dr. Michael Burry, who wants us to sell him credit default swaps, this new instrument that he's asking us to create solely for him on our mortgage-backed securities. So I had my intern do a little bit more digging, some due diligence on him to find out who this guy is and what he's been up to. So evidently he's a neurologist from the West Coast who does not have a substantial history yet as a hedge fund manager, or whatever he wants to call himself these days. I also have a friend who works in his office, and evidently he just sits solo in his office all day doing push-ups and sit-ups. He's wearing shorts and flip-flops, and he doesn't talk to anybody. He's just grinding by his computer, first one in, last one out, whatever, that's fine. We have plenty of analysts who do that, but this guy is quite the character. Oh yeah, and so like I said, here's the best part. He wants us to create this new instrument of credit default swap so he can short our mortgage-backed securities, which, you know, we are the ones who even created these mortgage-backed securities, and they are killing it in the housing market right now, which is at all-time high valuations. So maybe this guy should stick to his education. Do you think he's really smarter than the 1,000 analysts we have on the 5th floor doing all the due diligence on our mortgage-backed securities right now? Or all the lawyers who are actually the ones who created these things, the ones who are flipping through the thousands and thousands of pages with all the details on this? There's no way he can compete against our resources in the law department and all of our analysts as a single guy. There's absolutely no chance. Oh yeah, so these mortgage-backed securities, they're also rated AAA by Moody's. Don't think that that's gonna have any risk to us if they're rated AAA. And here's the best part, yeah, last week we just had these underwritten by AIG, the largest insurance company, so I'm not too worried about these at all. We created them, we know what's in them, we have the analysts and the lawyers doing the work. Does he really think he's smarter than Moody's and AIG? This guy has absolutely no clue what he's doing. I also heard from Goldman's that, he's going over to them asking for the same thing, and yeah, they created it for him and they sold it to him. So I propose let's take his free money, and then it'll be a nice bonus for us to all go to Hawaii next month. End of the board meeting. So there are a couple of things at play here. The first is recallability bias, and the recallability bias states that people assess the frequency, probability, or likely causes of an event by the degree to which instances or occurrences of that event are easily recalled. So Dr. Burry is coming to these banks asking them to create this new instrument for him to short their AAA best rated bonds ever that are underwritten by a massive insurance company. So there's no recency to this ask here. There's no major event in the past where somebody's come in and completely tumbled an entire mortgage market like Dr. Burry is trying to do here. So the banks fell into their own bias of not having anything to recall a situation like this from. There's also the representativeness bias, which states that people make judgments about probability based on the degree to which a specific description corresponds to a broader category in their minds. So Dr. Burry is this really weird, quirky guy. He's a neurologist. He does not have a significant financial background. He has no major successes yet as a hedge fund manager. He's making, modest, middle of the pack gain at his firm, but that's actually his advantage. So he's just a guy sitting around in t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops in his office every day, not talking to everybody, doing push-ups and sit-ups all day. And he's just doing the numbers, doing the due diligence all by himself. And that actually what puts him into the positive category here, at least on his side. But from the bank's bias, they just see this really weird guy who they think doesn't have any idea what he's actually doing. Then there's the confirmation trap, and that's the idea that we seek out information that confirms what we're thinking when it comes to making a decision. So all these investment banking analysts, probably at all the different banks are getting together. It's like, hey, have you heard of this Dr. Burry guy? He's coming and trying to get us to create these new things. Yeah, let's absolutely take his money, bring it here. The banks didn't have anybody telling them, sitting in their back corner, which, they should as a bank. They need to have somebody sitting there who's like, hey, maybe let's do a little bit more DD into the risks here. He could have a chance of being right. We don't know. We're a bank. We need to do all the due diligence to make sure that we have all of our bases covered, because we have the resources to do it, because we're a bank, because we're in the business of making money.